So before I get into kind of explaining everything around values and what a value is, I am curious as to how many of you have spent time exploring your values. I know for me, it's been a couple of years. I work on it with my clients regularly, but I have not done it for myself regular in a while. Okay, we've got no. Yeah, it is something that a lot of the world doesn't kind of encourage us to look into. It's not something we're taught in school, but they are deeply, deeply valuable. Okay, a year and a half ago. Yeah, so similar to me, like about 2 years ago. So this evening, in this time together, you're going to gain a deeper understanding about what a core value is, um, the different areas that core values really mainly exist within our world, gain clarity on what your core values are, and some next steps for you to apply after this workshop. Because we're not going to solve and answer every single question in this short time that we have together. Our values are deeply, deeply ingrained into who we are. And it's going to take some digging. But I hope that within this time that you spend with me this evening, there's going to be a flicker of light, a connection that you can make, a seed that is planted that may grow and blossom into an aha moment later down the line. Just be gentle and kind with yourself as you navigate this practice. And know that it is a long journey. I personally have been working on it for many, many years, and I think I have really, really solid clarity on my number one core value, but the rest I'm constantly needing to really revisit and dig. So wherever you are at in this journey, you're welcome here. And just know that whatever comes up or whatever happens is meant to be this evening. There's no good or bad or right or wrong. So why should you care about this in the first place? That's a great question. I know for me, well, okay, first, our values are a compass. They're our internal compass that guide us through life. And it's important for us to be able to name and recognize and understand what those are, so that we can lean on them to make big decisions as we go through life. So a lot of you, as I can see, have never taken the time to explore or ask these questions. It's like having a functioning compass in your pocket that you just don't use. And it's no good that way. We want to know where we're going, want to know what's important to us. So tonight we're going to dust that compass off and I'm going to teach you how to use it. Some things that we need to consider when we are going through this exercise today is that the world is really, really loud. And oftentimes, society, our cultures, our family, our friends, our workplaces are very loud in what matters to them or what they think should matter to us. So, unlike a lot of the other work that I do with my clients, I want you to not go with the first thing that pops into your mind. Tonight, I encourage you to explore and get curious and analyze and question the words and the thoughts that come into your mind. Tonight, we're not going to go with the first thought that jumps into our head. Tonight, we're going to go, oh, that's an interesting thought. I wonder what else is there. I wonder what that would feel like if I lived in that value. I wonder if this is my value, if this is someone else's. We're going to get really curious. For me, I want to give a quick example before we get into our first exercise of how this work has been valuable, even for me in my life. That boyfriend that I broke up with recently? Well, 4 years ago when we first started dating, I was really in a rough place with my career. I was deeply overwhelmed. I went on antidepressants. Like I was just really, really struggling in my life. And this partner had come into my world and he was wonderful and I was in love and everything was great. And I started working with a coach because other than having a wonderful partner, I was really deeply dissatisfied with my life and where I was at in it, and I didn't know what I wanted to do next. I knew I needed to make a change. I knew that I was uncomfortable and unhappy with where I was currently at, but I had no idea what that change was going to be. Simultaneously, my partner lived 2 hours out of the city. He was military with the Canadian military, like search and rescue. So he had to be where he lived, and I had to be in the city. I'm a TV producer. I can't live outside of the city. And one thing that really became a huge aha moment for me with this values work was um, many months after having done an exercise similar to this, I was in my bed one night and it was a full moon. And I just remember having this great big light bulb where I realized that I was operating from an old core value. I was operating and leaning into a value that had expired for me, and a new one had come up. And to be extra clear, work was a very big core value for me for a long period of time. I was hustling. I wanted to be making it in film and TV. It's a freelancer world. Like, you have to go for it. And that was a core value. But when shit was going wrong and I fell in love, I realized that my value had changed, and my core value for work had been substituted with a core value for family and wanting to grow this relationship. And when I could accept that, when I could see that, realize that, then I could shift the choices and the decisions that I was making in the rest of my life to align with those values. And I cannot even I it was like a shooting star when I made those shifts, when I accepted that that is what I wanted and trusted and leaned into that. It was like everything that I had been wanting and dreaming about just fell smoothly onto a platter for me. I remember moving in with my partner being like, "Do you remember how we thought that this was never going to happen, that this was going to be absolutely impossible?" It felt like magic. And so again, if you do not feel that instant click right now, just know you're planting seeds. We're gaining clarity, we're gaining awareness, and this is the power of this work. Because when we can understand and know what really matters to us, not to our parents, not to our friends, not to our coworkers, what really matters to us at our cores, and we align the decisions we're making with those, then we are living free. We are living comfortably. We are living with ease. We are living with flow. When we are making decisions out of interests that we have that are disconnected from our core values, there's going to be a disconnect. There's going to be discomfort. There's going to be frustration. There might even be shame. Um, or if we're operating from someone else's values or their wants and needs for us, again, discomfort, shame, disconnect. So those are the things we want to really pull away from in this next hour. Tonight, we are going to focus on us. We're going to get selfish in this space today, and I just want you to get so curious about who you are. There is going to be a big list, as you may have seen in the handout that I gave you. There is a huge list of values. And when everything is important, nothing is important. So we are going to work tonight to distill that down to our top 5. And don't worry, I'm going to guide you through it and into there. So let's get into, I'm going to do the shortest presentation because I want to get right into the juice. I'm going to explain to you these 4 different areas that our values take place. And then I'm going to run you through a guided meditation that's going to ground you into this space, get you into this mindset, and then it is automatically going to flow into our first skills practice. So let me share my screen. 4 different types of values that, or different places in which our values tend to really exist. And that's personally, culturally, professionally, and socially. So these are the 4 areas that we can really look and investigate and lean into while we're hunting down what our top 5 values are. And so these different types. So first we have a personal value. These are you. These are the things that are important to you as an individual, as a human being. It is how you want people to see you, experience you, recognize you in this world. Our cultural values are our cultural roots. They're things that oftentimes connect us to a greater community who share similar values to us. And they can include things like religion, language, food, and cultural celebrations. There's social values. So these are what we value when we are connecting with others, what we value in our friendships, what we value in our families, what we value when we're connecting with people out in public, in the workplace, which is our last one, professional values. These are the principles that guide our behavior when we are at work. What do we consider professional? What do we consider important in the workplace? This is actually a great way to really hone in on that idea of values. You know, a lot of times now that the pandemic has gone through, a lot of people value working from home. We value being able to spend more time with our family. We value being able to walk our dogs and do our laundry while we're in the midst of work. And some workspaces are valuing community, and they want people in the workplace, and they want to see your faces, and they want to have the after work party and the drinks. If you are a person who values that home space and that connection and that family time, working in an environment where you're at a 9 to 5 and you're at a desk and you're in part of that cultural community, if those two values aren't going to align, then your workplace experience perhaps is not going to feel as great as it could, as good as it could, and it might feel trapped and disconnected. So what we are going to start by doing, I'm going to run us through a guided meditation in this next slide. Once that meditation is complete, you're going to go right into this first exercise. So you want to have your notebook and a pen or pencil near you. And what you're going to do is you can either reference the guide that I supplied to you in the chat, or I will have the values listed on the screen. And what you're going to do is you're going to go through, and any value that you feel connected to, any value that you feel, oh yeah, that's important to me, I want you to write it down. And then I want you to connect it to one of these 4 different categories. Where in your life is that value important to you? And it could be in multiple places. It might be just a social value, or it could be a value that hits all 4. Mark it. Mark each one. And then afterwards, you're going to have a greater idea of how important certain values are for you based on how many pockets they hit. To make things easier, I've put like a little legend on that handout, just a little acronym. I find what works for me, because I'm going to be doing this with you guys, is I will write the word and then I'll write the acronym beside it. So if the value is kindness, I'll put SV because it's a social, professional, I would put it everywhere. And I would just use those acronyms beside it. Some people use colors and highlighters, whatever system is going to work for you. So for this guided meditation, I encourage you to have your eyes closed, but if that does not feel right to you, if that does not feel safe for you, then I encourage you to just gaze your eyes downwards, or I chose this meditation video music because it is pretty too. So you can also look at that if that is comfortable for you. So take this time now to settle into your space. Okay. I encourage you to close your eyes, get seated or lay down, and slowly start to connect with your breath. Breathe in for a count of 4 and hold for a count of 4. Release for a count of 4. Hold. Breathe in. Hold. Release. Hold. And now relax into your normal pace of breath. Allow all the noises, the distractions around you start to fade away. Allow right now to be you, me, and the sound of your breath, the sensation of your breath. Allow yourself to fall deeper and deeper into relaxation. Allow your body to melt into your seat, deeper and deeper. Find the stillness. Allow your feelings of self-acceptance and safety emerge. And when you're ready, I want you to visualize yourself walking between thin canyon walls. There's only rock, tall, smooth rock surrounding you. You can hear the echo of your steps bouncing from the walls. And some gusts of wind seems to be escaping through the cracks. And while you look up, you can see a part of the sky. Your intuition suggests that you should follow the wind's direction. The more steps that you make, the stronger the flow of the air that you feel. Notice you're getting closer to a thin path. While coming out, you notice that if you take another step, you will fall into an abyss, but you feel so safe right now. Feel happy. Cool wind is soothing your body. The view of the beautiful mountains is calming you. The feeling of freedom filling you up with powerful energy. Start to feel the wind slowly lifting you into the sky. And a feeling of courage and confidence is taking over. You are free of all limitations. As you enjoy your flight, you notice a tall mountain. You fly there. And as you arrive, you stand at the very peak of this mountain. And you look out the sunset. Sky is becoming red and orange and purple. Birds gliding all around you. Notice that the air has blown all your anxiety away. Feel the might that is within you. Feel as though you can do and achieve anything you want. Now look at the gusts of wind that is transforming into gusts of light. This swirling, beautiful ball of light is headed towards you. And it is filling your body and your mind and your soul. Let this light fill your heart and your essence. Feel how your body absorbs this golden light. Take a deep, deep breath in. And with your next breath in, invite the warmth, energy, and love of this light. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And another deep breath in and out. Now I invite you to come into your body again, wiggling your fingers and your toes, coming back into the room. And before you open your eyes, just take a moment to receive and integrate all that you have seen, and experienced make a subtle promise to yourself that you're bringing this light with you, within you. When you are ready, gently open your eyes. I'm just going to put up the list of values. And this is when you are now going to start on your exercise. Please let me know in the comments when you're done so that we can together move on to the next phase of this. If you have any questions or concerns, just let me know in the comments, in the chat. I see your question. Romantic relationship. I mean, they really go into both. This is fluid. There's going to be ones that land in multiple categories for you. And it could be both ways. It's how you value, how you want to show up in a relationship, perhaps, and what you also value from that partner. So what you value from the partner might be a social value, and what you value about how you show up for yourself could be considered a personal one, if you want to break it down and be more specific like that. know about you guys, but I am finding it interesting this time going through it and how some really do only fall into one category and some really hit all of them. Just finding it fascinating. If there is a value you have and it's not on this list, just know it's okay to add it. There are hundreds of values. If it's not here, feel free to add it. wrap it up in a couple more minutes. Okay. How's everyone feeling so far? I don't want to rush anyone, but if you need a little bit more time, let me know in the comments. Or I keep saying comments like I'm on Instagram or something in the chat. Not seeing much, so I'm thinking y'all might be agreeing that we can move on to the next step of this. Okay, cool. So the next step. So I don't know about you guys, but there's a lot on my sheet. I think I have a whole page full of different kinds of values that I've really connected to. Who here has about a page? You have it. Who here has at least like 20 maybe on their list? Give me like a thumbs up or an acknowledgement. Yeah, 17. Yeah, yeah, we've got a lot, and it can feel really overwhelming at first when we look to it. And I have found in my experience just being like, okay, now pick 5 doesn't really work. So we're going to break it down into an even smaller system. And what I want you to do now is really look into this list and really evaluate the words that you have put on your sheet and how many different elements it connects to. Which ones are really standing out to you? Which ones are connected to one element of your life? Which ones are connected to multiple? And if narrowing it down to just your top 5 feels overwhelming like it does for me, we're going to do the string method. And what that means is if there is multiple words on your list that kind of coexist together, that for you, they make sense because together they articulate the depth and the feeling of that value to you even more accurately. So I have a couple examples on the screen right now. So, discipline, diligence, hardworking, accuracy, those all kind of encompass that same energy, that same value. And together they kind of really articulate what that means to this person even more clearly. Exploration, freedom, adventure, independence. Again, that's another example of multiple words kind of connecting very similarly and helping you articulate the power and the depth and the feeling of that value for you more accurately. So that is what we're going to lean into right now. And you can have no more than 5 lines. We're going to keep it at 5 max, but do it this way if you can. And I'm going to give you some time here to do that, and then we'll come back. Another thing you want to do too when you're choosing and you're selecting and you're leaning into these words is, what do they mean to you? What's your definition for what that word means to you? And where did it come from? Where did that value become important to you? And as we're narrowing it down, a couple other questions you can ask are, which ones are really essential to your life? What values represent your primary way of being that express who you are at your core? And which ones are essential to supporting your inner self? Now, does anyone have anything they want to share about what came up for them, what they noticed when they were doing these 2 practices? Ooh, we've got calmness, clear mind, simplicity, family, growth, health, thankfulness. We have only just scratched the surface of this work in this short amount of time that we have together. So I wanted to leave you with things that you can deepen this work even after this workshop is done. Um, so let's talk about what you guys can do next as you continue to work at distilling what these values are for yourself, even after you leave here. So I've put these on the handout, but basically tomorrow or later today or throughout the week, come back to this list that you have made for yourself and bring up these questions. You want, again, the world is so loud and there is so much pressure from us, from society, from our jobs, from our family to do and exist and be a certain way. And so we want to come back to these. We want to continue to ask and explore what is important to me and ensure that they're not important to someone else and it's just something that we're carrying. So these are some questions you can ask yourself. You can journal about them or just even sit and go, ask the question and look at your values. So how do these values make you feel? I don't know if you noticed while you were going through the list. I know for me personally, I would go through the list, and when I would get to a value that felt aligned, there'd be like this little spark, this little twinge, this little like, yeah, that I can't not write that down. So check in, like, how does it feel tomorrow when you read these values? Do they sit and feel the same way now? In a week, do they? In a month, do they? Um, do they feel consistent with who you are? Do they feel aligned with the person that you know yourself to be on a soul level? I don't care if it is how you are showing up currently. This is not about the future versions of ourselves. This is about who we are at our core now, here, and in this moment. We want to get to know us now. And so asking yourself, are these consistent with who I feel and know myself to be in this moment? Are they personal to you? Why are these important to you? That question, are they personal to you? I find I like to explore, where did this come from? I know for me, like my core, my my strongest, my number one, the one I know better than anything, of kindness being my core value. I was able to deepen that relationship and understanding when I correlated it to very traumatic bullying from my elementary years and through high school and and through my life, to be honest with you. And heartbreak, like kindness is so important to me. And I can attach it to that experience as to why. So if you can explore that, that's another great way to really understand why that value is important to you. Understanding, where does it stem from in the first place? Do you see any values that are inconsistent with your identity and who you want to be? Is there anything in there that is like, oh, you know what? My mom really wanted me to be a doctor. She really cared about health and stability and a workplace stuff, but I want to be a freelance TV creator. Which ones are aligned with you? Which ones are really connected to you? And priority. Do you feel like they're in proper order in terms of how important they are to you? Because sometimes life is going to challenge them. Sometimes there's going to be multiple really good job offers on the table or multiple equally terrible job offers on the table. And you want to be able to check in with yourself and go, which one is most connected to the things that are important to me when we're making these big decisions? There are pillars. So check, see how aligned they are in terms of their numbers of like how important they are to you. And then when all of that is done, I want you to assess how in alignment you are currently living to those values. Because again, our values are oftentimes connected to how we are experiencing this world and this life that we are living in. So if you're out of alignment, that's when you're going to sense some of that disconnect, that frustration, that burnout. So really ask yourself, if kindness is important to you on a scale of 1 to 10, how connected are you to that value? How much are you showing up in your life to that value? Does your work align to that value? Are your friends and your family connected to that value? These are the questions we want to ask and explore. If you have feedback for me, positive or negative, let me know in the follow-up email. There'll be a little feedback, or you can put it into the chat right now. I really appreciate hearing your experiences in my spaces. I really want to create a space where everyone has a chance to explore and understand life skills better, because they do have the ability to make such a positive impact in our lives. They have truly transformed my life in so many beautiful, wonderful ways. And I continue to share that on social media and with you guys. So just thank you so much for being here. But otherwise, that's the workshop for the evening. And I thank you so much for joining me in this space.